Hey, it's Danielle here, The Introvert Mind. And last week, the video on 3 conversation starters for people who hate small talk seems to be that it resonated with some of you because some of you reached out to me via private message, and I appreciate that. So feel free to contact me. I love it. I love it. So send me your suggestions, your questions. That's cool. I like that. So today I wanted to talk about something I've been working on, and it's becoming a better listener. So today I want to talk about 3 things to do to become a better listener. So 2 things to do, 1 thing you should not do. The first thing is to paraphrase. I was in a meeting earlier this week, and I had asked at the conclusion of the meeting, I said, so what can we do to help make you successful? Number 1, the person was very glad that I asked that question. It was as if no one had ever asked the question before. But when he finished, what I did was, I said, so what you're saying is, and I regurgitated what he just told me in my own words. And when he realized I understood what he was saying, I could hear the excitement, because I don't know if I mentioned that it was a phone meeting, but I can hear the excitement that he felt that I understood him and that I was listening to him. So that's number 1. Make sure you paraphrase. If you paraphrase and get it wrong, guess what? They will repeat it for you. They will break it down into terms that you can understand. Not a problem. However, if you keep paraphrasing it wrong, then they're going to get a little pissed. So the key is to make sure you're listening so that you can say it back to them in a way that shows that you have been listening. And then the second thing, and before I go into the second thing, I just came from my run out in Denver, Colorado, so I'm a little bit misty. So if you see bugs flying on my face, please excuse them. So anyway, number 2, when you, especially in a political climate like we have here in the United States right now, let's say you're talking about politics. Why don't you ask the person, when they finish giving you their viewpoint, that's interesting. Why do you feel that way? See a bug. That's interesting. What makes you say that? That question right there keeps them talking, number 1. And you know people like to talk about themselves and how they feel and their viewpoints. But it also makes that person believe that you're interested. And when you're interested, you become more interesting. It's one of my favorite quotes. And then Dale Carnegie says, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to make other people interested in you. One of my favorite quotes from Dale Carnegie. Sorry, bugs. So, at the end of whatever they present to you, you say that's interesting. What makes you say that? And then you have a conversation. But it also shows that you're listening. Now, number 3, the thing that you should not do, and this is really key for people who are married, people who are in sales, you should not, and I repeat, you should not interrupt and try to finish their sentence. The worst thing you could do. The worst thing you do. Number 1 is rude. Number 2, you interrupt that person's flow of thought. And number 3, what's worse is if that person is trying to vent, you have totally ruined it for them. If I'm trying to vent, just listen. That's all I want you to do is listen. I'm not asking you for a solution. Maybe not now. Right now, what I want to do is I want someone to listen to me. So make sure you don't interrupt and try to finish their sentence, because especially if you're wrong in finishing their sentence, that agitates the person even more. So, going back to review my points, 3 tips on how to become a better listener. 2 things you should do and 1 thing you should not do. First thing, paraphrase. Get it right. Be on point. Second thing is, at the end of their statement, say to them, "That's interesting. What makes you say that?" Number 3, what you should not do not interrupt and try to finish their sentence.